Pokemon as a video game franchise is pretty massive, raking millions of dollars yearly. However, in recent times, the games have much to be desired. I'm not saying that they're bad games, quite the contrary. I love to play Pokemon. It's just that they can't compete with other major video game franchises. This is often due to lackluster graphics, minimal content, and a sense of the developers being lazy. But there's also some good qualities in the games. With the upcoming release of Pokemon Winds and Waves, I want to see what the best possible game the Pokemon company could have made if you frankensteinify redeeming qualities they had in their previous games. There are multiple different aspects that are in every Pokemon game. For example, the regional gimmick, Mega Evolution, Z-moves, etc., map, storyline, graphics, traversal abilities, and much, much more. Starting with the basics, the graphics side. Obviously, the best graphics have to belong to the Switch games due to them running on the most powerful hardware. But between the disgusting trees, bland environments, and lagging textures, we only really have one option left in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Even though these games being the first Switch games, they have by far the best visuals. They look clean, the shading looks good, but also Legend Arceus got some decent ones as well. Especially when you factor in the pseudo-open-worldness. I'm a firm believer that Pokemon sprites have really downgraded ever since the end of Generation 5. Mostly due to the 3D models just feel bland and lifeless. It would also be really cool to see the 2D sprites back in action on a more powerful system on the Switch 2, which I still don't have. So the Gen 5 games have the ideal sprite work. I'm gonna go on a personal rant now. I think it's kind of stupid how Scarlet Violet, there isn't a multi-release button for the box. Like, it makes Masuda hunting just really painful. So for this, I want the UI of Legend Arceus. And there's multi-release. On the gameplay aspect, which includes topics like movement, regional gimmick, and story. For movement, I believe the most fun HMs that contribute to this are rock climb for mountains, dive to explore underwater. Hopefully this is implemented well in Winds and Waves. Surf the really open map, especially while exploring Mr. Too Much Water. Waterfall just being a water-type rock climb. Fly to traverse the area like in Legend Arceus. And strength being fun to have for those rock puzzles. However, I just like having the HM moves mandate a spot on your Pokemon's moveset. So I would like to implement either what Legend Arceus or Sun and Moon did with the Ride Pokemon, and use those to fill my movement desires. But I still do prefer the fast travel mechanic to get to places you've already been before. Ever since Generation 6, we were introduced to a regional gimmick, a once per battle effect that redefined the meta entirely. These included Mega Evolution, Z-moves, Dynamax, and Terastallization. But I'm not going to just pick one. I mean, Sun and Moon sure didn't. They had both Z-moves and Mega Evolution. By far the most marketable, fun, and coolest gimmick is Mega Evolution, as it gives some either underwhelming Pokemon chances to be someone's favorite, or just makes them competitive monsters that would ruin the metagame. My second choice is the basic and frankly very balanced Terastallization. I believe the game's major fights would be entertaining to play, as the major bosses would have a Terastallization and a Mega to fight you. Like, imagine having to fight the final boss of the game, and they have a Terra-flying Mega Salamence spamming Terra-boosted aerialated Double Edge. Pokemon games aren't the most well-known to have complex stories, as they are supposed to be children games after all. But some games don't follow this rule. In my opinion, the best stories in the franchise go to Pokemon Emerald, Black and White, Black 2, White 2, and Scarlet and Violet. Emerald's implementation of two different ego teams, a thing that Pokemon hasn't done since, to try and ruin the world in their own way by summoning the legendary beasts Kyogre or Groudon, defeat their leader, team up with Steven Stone in the Space Center to stop them, and have the summon Rayquaza end its escapade. Makes Emerald a wonderful game to play countless times. Black and White have you take down an evil Team Plasma, a team led by Getsis and his son, Natural Harmonia Gropius. Yes, that is his real name. Search it up if you don't believe me. Believe that people shouldn't be able to rule Pokemon, so that they try to convince everyone to give up their Pokemon. This eventually culminates in N taking Zekrom/Reshiram to display his ideologies. But plot twist, Getsis doesn't actually want to live in harmony. He wanted no one to have any Pokemon so that his team could rule freely. Black 2 and White 2 take place 2 years after the originals, with a new Team Plasma. I'm going to explain this in a simple way. Getsis got really mad, and made the missing piece of the puzzle to make Unova too chilly for comfort. He wanted to rule it and steal everyone's precious widow creatures. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are lacking in many things, but a good storyline is not one of them. These games technically have 4 different ones: Victory Road, Path of Legends, Starfall Street, and The Way Home. The unique thing about Scarlet and Violet is that you can go through the stories in any order, making every playthrough unique. For this entry, I would use Scarlet and Violet's storyline for the most part, but just swap out N and Team Plasma for Team Star and Penny, as I believe that Team Star wasn't the most enticing evil team. I believe that if implemented well, Team Plasma could work in a school club or something, and N finds out about their evil intentions, and helps the protagonist take them down from the inside out. We're reaching the end of this video and the end of this hypothetical Pokemon game. So what else to talk about other than the postgame? There are 3 notable postgames that I want to talk about, as they're all very unique from each other. Firstly, the Indigo Dust DLC from Pokemon Scarlet Violet. I believe this DLC adds a lot to this game. Adds a lot of new areas, Pokemon content, with the missions to unlock the starters and whatnot. Secondly, we have the Battle Frontier from Pokemon Emerald. This is a collection of battle facilities such as the Battle Tower, present in many other games, but with about 6 more unique ones. That's the ultimate endgame grind to beat all 7 Frontier Brains, as well as having to train specific Pokemon for the job. And lastly, probably one of the best endgame content in any Pokemon game is Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver. These games don't just add an islander to the end of the game, they add a whole Kanto region, with 8 new gyms, different Pokemon, and a finale with Red on top of Mount Silver. That's why for the best Pokemon creation, we need to implement a different region with different Pokemon and challenges at the end of the game, just like how HeartGold and SoulSilver did. So to recap, the best possible Pokemon game this Game Freak could have made if combining different features of each one has the graphics of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon sprites from Gen 5, the UI of Legend Arceus, the traversal ability implementation Legend Arceus with the abilities of Surf, Rock Climb, Dive, Flying Strength, both Terastallization and Mega Evolution as a regional gimmick, Scarlet and Violet story, but swapping Starfall Street with Team Plasma and Shenanigans, and finally the entire extra region is done with Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver. If you're watching this far, I'm honestly really surprised, and if you have any different ideas for which game is the best in a specific category, please tell me in the comments. I'll read every single comment.